Welcome to Business with Marvin. Today we're speaking to Theo Baloyi, the guy behind the brand called Bathu. Theo, welcome to Marvin. It's an honor to have you here. I just want you to tell us a bit more about yourself, where you come from, and the brand Bathu. How did it start?
Thank you for the invite. It's such a I'm humbled to be here on this platform. So, like as you've already introduced me, my name is Theo Baloyi. I'm basically I've moved around in my life. I was born and bred in Pretoria, in a place called Phake. It's a few kilometers outside Hamanskraal. Relocated to Johannesburg to further my studies in accounting in 2009, and I was based in Alexandra. So I often say that I'm from Pretoria and Johannesburg, basically. I'm an accountant by profession. I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, for about 5 years. 2 years in South Africa, 3 years in the Middle East in Dubai. And now currently I run my own shoe business, a proudly African or premium African sneaker brand, Bathu. And I've been running it for about 3.5 years now.
So tell me, how is the brand doing since its inception?
Well, since its inception, I think our objectives were quite clear, our vision was quite clear as to what we're trying to build. We want to build a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with. And the word itself, Bathu, it's a word that has existed in South African township for decades or for centuries, meaning shoe, or it was used quite often in the days of apartheid, prior democracy in referral to a shoe. So we basically conceptualized that, into a sneaker brand, and with the aim to build a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with. So since its inception, people have been receiving it well, because they can relate to the story, and our designs are quite, very, very innovative and different. The mesh edition sneakers, that is a sneaker that can blow some air to your feet and can show off your colorful socks as well. So people really love the brand, what it stands for, because they can relate to it, and then the unique designs that we've got. Okay,
so I want to ask you something about creating value into a brand.
Yeah.
When you start a new brand, you think it's phenomenal yourself,
sure,
but you're selling it to the world.
Yeah.
So how do you create value into a new product?
Yeah.
With the odds against you, you don't have the capital that you could possibly need to start this new brand. So your financials are a bit tight.
Yeah. So for me, I think the importance of creating value starts with the basics. So if you get the basics wrong, right, and then you've got a good product or good service, and then you go ahead and implement it with the wrong basics, your value will be questionable in the long run. So for me, I think we invested a lot in terms of getting the basics right. So for instance, our proof of concept, we did it for 18 months. That is research and development, that is quality testing, quality assurance, quality control, registering the business, and trying to learn more about retail business as a whole and how we want to position our brand. Our research and development is something that took a very long process, because like I said, I'm an accountant by profession, so I needed to invest a lot in understanding the footwear industry, right? And I think the second thing is that I think we did about 21 samples, with the mesh edition, our flagship design, and then we were declined by the factory for about 13 times, so it was a lengthy process before we could introduce the brand, and with that alone, it really gave us a platform to establish great fundamentals and principles that will really represent our brand and also create value in the long run. Because of everything else, I think from day one we got it right in terms of the basics, right? We made a lot of mistakes afterwards once we launched the business, but our basics were right. So with that being said, because we had strong basics in business and what we wanted to tell and what we wanted to build was so clear, so it helped us create a lot of value. So for us, to answer your question, basically I would say focus on the basics, right? So once the basics are right, then don't worry about making mistakes or getting right in a national or on a bigger scale. As long as your basics are right, your vision is right, and you know that you're selling a product or service of value, right? And then in the long term, your business will grow and it will have an impact in society, in its clients, and all the stakeholders.
So as you speak, you sound like someone that is a natural in business. You have the fashion sense. I can see how you look, man. You look proper.
Thank you.
But you have this business acumen. And is that natural? Because I want to know about selling a product. You can create a good product, but if you're selling it the wrong way, then it won't sell. So how did you get that right?
Very good question. I mean, it also, it basically, I'm just gonna take it from my previous answer that, you know, I'm an accountant by profession, you know, so I've got corporate experience for about 5 years with one of the best accounting firms. So that also helped, because when I was with PwC, I would do anything from audit to asset management to consulting, which would then give me insights into businesses, because of one day you auditing a telecom company, the next day you're auditing a mining company. So you sort of get to understand the value chains of different types of businesses and how to cooperate, how to corporatize the business. So that alone really helped me to build a business acumen. But you know, before I get to that, long story short, when I was doing my undergrad second year, I used to sell perfumes door to door, you know, in Alex, all based perfumes. So I was that guy who used to knock door to door and sell perfumes.
So this business thing has been there.
It's been there. And when we started that business, myself and Andrew, at the time, we didn't even have capital to start the business, but we had the mind to say, we knew a guy who was selling cufflinks and pocket squares in 2nd Avenue. We went to that guy and said, we can sell your product if you give it to us in consignment, and then we take your cut, and then we give you your profit back. Then with that money, we saved it. Then we invested in perfume business, and we started selling perfumes. So the basics were always right from day one, way before we started Bathu, in terms of how we raised our seed capital, how we branded our perfumes, how we marketed our perfumes, how we priced our perfumes, you know, also together with the corporate experience that I've gotten over the years in PwC. So I wouldn't say I'm a natural. It's basically, you know, building the acumen as you go.
Growing into this business thing.
And you don't get it right. I mean, you made a lot of mistakes, we lost a lot of money, you know, but as you go into it, especially with the right intentions, with the right basics, you know, you end up having a great acumen, which I'm still learning today still, you know.
Okay, so you produce shoes. There's something called economies of scale.
Yes.
So that's a big thing in new businesses, because it kind of controls how you price your product. So if you're not producing big volumes, then you know your pricing becomes a bit tricky.
Yes.
How did you get that right? Because I remember you saying off camera that your first batch was like 400 shoes.
Yes.
So how did you get the price right when you started?
Good question. So I mean, I think going back to economies of scales, for us though, it goes back to my point to say we did proof of concept and research and development and all of that behind the scenes work for 18 months. So that also included pricing on its own, you know, to say how do we manage our economies of scales. I mean, I'm in a footwear manufacturing industry, you can say that, where you work with minimum order quantities. So factory then says, for us to switch on the machines, you know, you need to have a minimum order quantity of 500 pairs or 400 pairs or whatever the case might be, you know, different factories, different nature of businesses, So for us, with the proof of concept, we sort of got our cost right. So we did not over project, you know, we did not overprice with the shoe. So we worked with numbers that were within our budget, and being an accountant, I could sort of scale that correctly, right? So also, and then when the business grows, economies of scale, going to your point, you can negotiate better, you know, to say, I started off with 400 pairs, you know, I did 1,000 pairs, and I went to do 3,000 pairs. Now I'm sitting on 10,000 pairs a month. So you get a room to leverage of your negotiations with the factory to say, you know, now that I've proven my concept, my business is growing, so therefore, you know, let's talk more like less unit cost, you know, going forward, you know. So to answer your question, economies of scales, for me, the way I incorporated it was in a way that I looked at my cost, I looked at the factory's requirements, and sort of worked around that, the pricing around it.